pay bounties to Taliban fighters to kill American soldiers. You had a phone call with Vladimir Putin on July 23rd. Did you bring up this issue?
No, that was a phone call to discuss other things, and frankly, that's an issue that many people said was fake news.
Who said it was fake news?
I think a lot of people. If you look at some of the wonderful folks from the Bush administration, some of them not any friends of mine, were saying that it's a fake issue, but a lot of people said it's a fake issue.
There was
we had a call talking about nuclear proliferation, which is a very big subject, where they would like to do something, and so would I. We discussed numerous things. We did not discuss that, no.
And you've never discussed it with him?
I have never discussed it with him, no. I would. I'd have no problem with it.
But you don't believe
the intelligence.
It's because you don't believe the intelligence, that's why.
Everything, it's interesting. Nobody ever brings up China. They always bring Russia, Russia, Russia. If we can do something with Russia in terms of nuclear proliferation, which is a very big problem, bigger problem than global warming, a much bigger problem than global warming in terms of the real world, that would be a great thing. No, it never reached my desk. You know why? Because they didn't think it was intelligence. They didn't think it was real.
It was in your written brief, though.
They didn't think it was worthy of. I wouldn't mind. If it reached my desk, I would have done something about it. It never reached my desk because.
Do you read your written brief?
I do. I read a lot. Really? You know, I read a lot. They like to say I don't read. I read a lot.
I
comprehend extraordinarily well, probably better than anybody that you've interviewed in a long time. I read a lot. I spend a lot of time at meetings. Usually it's once a day or at least 2 or 3 times a week intelligence.
This was apparently
talking about India, talking about with the problems with China, talking about so many different elements of the world. The world is a very angry place. If you look all over the world, we call up, I see 22 soldiers were killed in India with China fighting over the border. It's been raging for many, many decades, and they've been fighting and back and forth. I have so many briefings on so many different countries, but this one didn't reach my desk.
The reason I say this is even if you don't believe this particular piece of intelligence, and there is dispute, no doubt there is dispute in the intelligence community about it, your former, John Nicholson, former head of forces in Afghanistan, said, and this is when he was working for you, that Russia is supplying weapons to the Taliban. Isn't that enough to challenge Putin over the killings of US soldiers?
Well, we supplied weapons when they were fighting Russia too. You know, when they were fighting with the Taliban in Afghanistan.
It's a different era.
Well, it's a different. I'm just saying, yes.
But does that,
I'm just saying we did that too.
But how does that
I don't know. I didn't ask Nicholson about that. He was there for a long time. Didn't have great success because he was there before me, and then ultimately I made a change.
But you surely heard that, right? I mean, it's well known in the intelligence community that they're arming the Taliban, Russia.
I don't know. When you say arming, is the Taliban paying, or are they giving
Russia is supplying weapons and money to the Taliban.
I have heard that, but it's never, it's never reached my desk.
I mean, he said it on the record when he was in...
Hey, Russia doesn't want anything to do with Afghanistan. Let me just tell you about Russia. Russia used to be a thing called the Soviet Union. Because of Afghanistan, they went bankrupt. They became Russia, just so you do understand, okay? The last thing that Russia wants to do is get too much involved with Afghanistan. They tried that once. It didn't work out.
Wow. Jonathan Swan, great job. So many different ways there. The president seemed extremely uncomfortable and didn't have an answer for you. Also, Russia was supplying weapons. We did that too. We did that too. Where have we heard that before? I can tell you where we've heard that before. During the campaign, it was December 18th, 2015, when Joe said to Donald Trump on an interview on Morning Joe, but President Putin, he kills journalists, Donald. And Donald responds, well, we kill people too. We'll show that to you later, but the bottom line is this is his go-to answer when he is cornered. Tell us more about the interview.
Well, I mean, you saw it there, and I think it's important. I'm glad you played it in its full context, because in some ways, the most shocking part of that clip is actually not the first part where he admits for the first time on the record that he hasn't raised the issue of the bounties with Vladimir Putin. That's the least shocking part of that call, because actually, frankly, you can have a debate within policy circles about whether it's the appropriate thing. I mean, there are dissenting opinions within the intelligence community about this intelligence. It certainly is serious intelligence being taken seriously by the allies, and there is a very good argument for why the president should raise it with Putin. But the second question is actually more important, which is, fine, you don't believe this intelligence, or you're skeptical of it. Let's try and take the most good faith interpretation of it. But you know that Russia has been supplying weapons and money to the Taliban because the man who ran your forces in Afghanistan, John Nicholson, under your administration, said this on the record when he worked for you. Mm-hmm. And for him to say then, well, I don't know if I've heard about this, never reached my desk, and by the way, we gave them weapons too. I mean, like in a different... Honestly, it was one of the most shocking... I've covered President Trump for 5 years. I think it's one of the most shocking exchanges I've ever had with him.